Hello, gamers. Welcome to episode 29 of Gamers Galaxie. Today, we are talking about the hit game from the Immutable ecosystem, WAGMI Defense. WAGMI Defense is a mobile strategy auto-battler card collection game, and it's the first title to be released from the WAGMI Games franchise. Today, the infamous human emperor, Scott Herman, joins us from WAGMI Games. Scott, how are you doing today, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Just really looking forward to talking to you today. And Rubick, how are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Looking forward to talking to Scott. I've been playing the game for pretty much a bit after it came out. Was released in beta, private beta, so a couple of months now, I think. And I play it every day. And looking forward to finding out what else is coming. That's my biggest lookout for what I'm looking for. So, well, hopefully we can get some alpha out of Scott today.
Yeah.
I'm sure he gets that question quite a bit. So, Scott, tell us about yourself and your role at WAGMI Games.
Yeah, so I'm one of the co-founders at WAGMI Games. My official title is the VP of Strategic Partnerships. So I spend a lot of my time looking for potential partners. I spend a lot of my time as a creator myself. As you guys may or may not know, I come from YouTube. I had a YouTube channel for over 13 years teaching fitness online worldwide. Built over 3 million subscribers, 700 million views worldwide. And I've been able to really take everything I've learned with content creation and just networking in general and bring that to WAGMI and really blow out our gaming community. So, well, I'll go off on a tangent and start getting into details for questions you're going to ask me later. But yeah, so my main focus here is supposed to just be like partnerships and things like that. But you guys know how it is with a startup. We all wear many hats, so do a lot of other things here too. But I try to focus mainly on the community side of things. But as an avid gamer myself, I also give a lot of input on the functionality of the game too with our internal team.
What is the inspiration for WAGMI overall? Like, not about the game itself, but just to start the company and to get it going and to choose the path you went on.
Yeah, it's a great question. So we have an interesting backstory, and it leads into the reason why we're the only token with the kind of tokenomics that we have, where 84% of the supply is on the market, right? There are no VCs holding large supplies of our token that they're going to dump as soon as this market picks up. We're a completely bootstrapped company. We've done this ourselves since the very beginning. And originally, there were 4 members in WAGMI. I joined me and my business partner, Costas, joined about 3 months after WAGMI had already been created. And those 4 guys met in a project that was originally called WAGMI. And it was around the time where tokens like GM were popping off, right? All these types of crypto terms where people say all the time, WAGMI, GM, stuff like that. And what ended up happening was that original token ended up being a rug, and there was only like 1 dev left out of the 6, and he didn't have control over the marketing wallet, and they were just slowly kind of draining the liquidity. And once they found that out, the original core 4 members, Ian, Chris, Lewis, and Khaled, they got together and decided that they wanted to try to save the acronym WAGMI and try to save the token. And Lewis, our CGO, he has had this idea for doing a mobile game, and he had been writing out his stories because we have all original stories, all original characters. He had been writing out this novel for quite some time, so the lore was pretty much already there. And they decided, like, hey, we should do something with this lore and create a mobile game because everyone is sleeping on mobile. Everyone's just trying to make, at the time, this is 2 years ago, all you really heard was like, these beautiful games on the PC, these beautiful open worlds, meta worlds, right? Metaverses, things like that, which is great. But that's not a global thing, right? Not everybody in the world has a PC or a PC powerful enough to play these types of games, but everybody has a phone. So what ended up happening was I and Lewis, Khaled, and Chris, they basically told everybody in the original group, hey, this is a rug. We're going to start a new token. And anybody who wants to join us, and they laid out the whole plan, like I just told you guys with the game and the story, to basically liquidate and come over to the new token and buy that one on a fair launch. And then once anybody who wanted to do that within the community did, then the core 4 took out what they had of whatever was left over. So they all had originally put in like around 300 to 400 grand into the token. Everyone moved over, and then they did, and then it was a new token. So that's why from the very beginning, the token was fair launched and already on the market because of this transition that happened. And in the very beginning, and we'll get into this more, there were 2 tokens. There was one on Ethereum, and then there was one on Binance, because we didn't have the solutions yet for gasless transactions, and we'll get into that. So there's been quite a journey since the very beginning of the token, but essentially the company was birthed from a community that the core 4 were a part of that essentially was getting scammed and rugged, and then a great idea that Lewis had, and everyone just kind of moved over. So we have members in our community that have been here like literally since before the beginning of the inception of WAGMI Games, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's a game. Sorry, it's a token launch into a game rather than the other way around. Like that's quite unique, isn't it? I've never heard that one before. And yeah, I was quite aware of your tokenomics with WAGMI, and I just think it's the best. Like not having a VC involved, not having slow emissions come out and be going to everyone. I actually bought some tokens just before the last pump, so I think I doubled or tripled my investment in it. So happy days, keep it going. But in terms of the
here, baby,
in terms of the game itself, what was the inspiration for the game is the story that was being written. Do you know the background to that and where that story come from? This aliens versus humans.
Yeah, well, so Lewis is just a huge gamer. Huge at the comics. In fact, him and I are a lot alike. Just his entire life, like his favorite games growing up playing is probably all the same traditional games you guys like, but he really leans into Metroid as well. It's one of his absolute favorite games. So he's huge into sci-fi. I mean, even I and our CEO is a huge Star Wars head, right? Absolutely loves that genre. In fact, in the very beginning, when they were trying to figure out which direction to go, because Lewis had the story, but they could make the game evolve in any way they wanted to, and the idea popped up like, hey, maybe we should do like an army type game where it's like humans versus, or like good guys versus bad guys, right? And Ian was actually at the Star Wars land at Disney, and just kind of was looking around and was like, no, dude, we need to do sci-fi. It's just so much more fun. There's so much more you can do with it. The story you have is great. The characters are great. Like, we just really need to lean into that and do it right.
Fantastic.
Interesting.
Yeah, so obviously the game, it's a strategy game, very chess-like, auto battler, card collection game. What is the core game loop look like for you guys, and break that down for us?
Yeah, so what's really great about WAGMI Defense is, it's not necessarily tower defense, because a traditional tower defense game is where you just kind of like place towers on the map and then hit go, and then you do nothing, right? You just kind of hope your setup does it correctly. Where our gameplay is more similar to Clash Royale, where you have 3 towers on your side, 3 towers on the other side, and the goal is to blow up the middle one. And you can only place troops on your side of the map unless you blow up one of your opponent's side towers. And then that portion of the map opens up and you can drop your troops a little closer. And what's so great about it, number one, being on mobile, you can play it anywhere, but it's a 3-minute game loop. Unless you go into overtime, which doesn't always happen, but it can. And then it's like 60 seconds. Whoever gets the first tower does the most damage wins. So no matter what, if you're going to play a quick game of WAGMI Defense, you're only locked in for like 3 to 4 minutes max. Which is great because to most people, they want a casual game that they can just play. Whether they're, traveling or just chilling in bed or whatever. And they don't have to like come up and sit down and be tied to a console or a PC. That mean even for me, I play Xbox all the time. Sometimes I don't want to be stuck in this room. I want to be sitting outside, getting some sun, right? And then that's where I whip out my phone and I'll play my games on my phone. But that doesn't mean it's not competitive. In fact, for you guys who have been playing, I know Rubick has been playing for quite some time. The term we like to use is easy to play, hard to master.
Nice.
So whenever we do live events, and we'll use NFT NYC as an example for last year, we had 2 iPads set up so people could battle each other head to head. Within 15 to 20 seconds, you already knew how to play the game, and you were already talking smack. And that's kind of like how I've always gauged this. If we did ETH Denver last year, we did NFT NYC, we're gonna be doing ETH Denver again this year. And every single time we put the game in people's hands and have them battle their friends, within the first 20 seconds, they're talking shit. Like, oh, I blew up your tower. Oh, I killed your guy. Oh, you bastard. You took out my... Right? And it's because, again, the game is easy to play, hard to master. You're not having to overthink the strategy. However, it does get very competitive. In fact, we have a few guys that play our game. In fact, one of them streams with me on Thursdays. His name is Scorpion, and he was a high level competitive Clash of Clans player. So he used to travel the world playing Clash of Clans with his team, and he absolutely loves the game, and he thinks that it's super competitive, and the core game loop is fun, even in its beta stage, right? Which is really good news to us because it's only going to evolve from here. But yeah, core game loop is you have your deck, you have 6 cards, 4 show up on the screen at a time. As you place one on the map, the new one shows up, and every card has a certain amount of energy, right? So you have an energy bar that's constantly filling. Once the energy bar hits, let's say 3, you can play a character that costs 3 energy, and then it resets and starts charging again, right? So you have to really plan your attacks and defense to make sure you don't get overwhelmed when you're trying to do a big push. It's fun.
Sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to ask about you're going for that quick 3-4 minute thing. Is there going to be more depth to the actual a story behind it, or there's a PvE mode maybe, or an achievement mode, or different game modes, or is it going to be kept very simple? What's the long term plan? I guess that's for the actual game itself.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so basically, we have all of that in store moving forward. We already have the first about year of live op, already planned. For those of you who don't know what live ops is, it's the campaigns and all the special events that happen week to week in mobile games. The main reason why in beta we have PvP is because number one, we want players to see the game and enjoy it, and number two, it's been helping us out a lot with in-game balancing. So Esteban, our senior product manager, he actually used to work at EA. He was the lead for Apex Legends Mobile and Garana Free Fire, in charge of their ecosystems. He is constantly jumping into our live streams because we live stream Monday through Friday on Kick. We have our own custom category. He constantly jumps in on those, and then if he can't make it, he'll rewatch the battles, right, with me and the other streamers to see which characters need tweaking. So he's constantly retweaking it, and that's why it's been so helpful. But yeah, what's going to end up happening, and we'll talk more about our anime and our comic book later, but we have a whole storyline that's going to be feeding into the game. So we're working with a really prestigious studio. Can't tell you who they are yet because we haven't made the official announcement, but they do have a ton of anime on Netflix that I know you guys have seen. And if you haven't, you're just not into the culture, I guess. But when I can reveal who they are and what they've worked on, you guys are going to be blown away. So we actually have a 53-second animatic that we're going to be releasing probably closer to global launch. And the story in that animatic revolves around our female character, General Melkros, who in the game is a cyborg. But in this story, it starts off with her as a kid, and it kind of shows her journey from kid to freedom fighter to getting captured by the aliens and then turned into a cyborg. And then that's going to lead into the fatui of the game, the first-time user experience, to where when you download and load the game for the first time, you're going to be hit with this like amazing cinematic. And then that cinematic is going to lead into like the tutorial on how to play the game. And now all of a sudden, you know, Melcros is teaching you how to play the game on screen. And the first map that's going to be available is going to be called Nemosh, which is already in the beta now for those of you who are playing, you know, Nemosh. So that map is actually like the lab where she was experimented on. And so the storyline is going to be something along the lines of like, hey, you know, I escaped, but there's still other people here. Let's battle the aliens, you know, and try to release them and things like that. So as the game launches and all this stuff starts being put into the game, you're going to have the PvE. In fact, you'll have to hit a certain rank before you can do PvP. Not like it's going to be hard or anything like that, but just to make sure that players have a chance to, you know, battle an opponent that's not insanely good, right? So they actually enjoy the game and they can start to understand the mechanics. And then as the story evolves, so we actually just released a Medium article on Wednesday and announced our partnership with these guys called Adult Fantasy NFT. And these guys are masterminds when it comes to, you know, developing lore and making comics. They actually were creators at Marvel for the last like 10 years. Before that, worked at Cartoon Network. My friend Todd, I actually met him at NFT NYC last year. I mean, his background's insane. Like when he worked at Cartoon Network, you know, he did Samurai Jack, he did Ed, and Eddie, right? He worked on all these big name IPs. And then when he worked over at Marvel, like literally side by side with Stan Lee at some point, right? So we hired these guys to create the comic book. So you guys know we have a comic already on OpenSea called Nephi Wars, and it's kind of telling the reason why the aliens and humans are fighting. So with the animatic that we're creating around Melcros, we hired Todd and his team to help us flesh that out. And then now we're going to be releasing like a 20-page comic that's going to further tell her story of, you know, what happened to her when she was a kid. Like her parents get captured by the aliens. That's why she becomes a freedom fighter. And explains like her power a bit more. So in the lore, she has the power over this pink isotope called a Dalium, which is why her hair is pink. And when you play the game, there's a lot of like pink kind of like energy around her, and even when she swings like her sword. So she's basically going to be, and this is why it's good to have guys that know what they're doing. So we're using her origin story as a vehicle to further flesh out the lore of the universe, right? So you're going to learn more about Nephi and the aliens and everything that's happening, but through her origin story and what happened to her. So yeah, we're definitely, so I guess to answer your question, yes, it's going to be much more than just PvP. All of that good story is going to go into the game and be a part of your journey, the user's path, right? And then as the story expands, you know, we can pull from all of those different storylines to bring cool live op opportunities into the game, new characters into the game, new skins for older characters, right? Different weapons, different attacks, different abilities, things like that. So yeah, there's a big plan moving forward where we're really letting IP, you know, be in the driver's seat.
Fantastic. Man, I got a couple quick points to make. So to rewind a bit, well, it's amazing. Like you're talking, it's almost like you're reading my mind. I preloaded videos to throw up while we're doing this. It's something that I do now. And while you were talking about your kick stream, I actually had that up at the same time, and everything you were talking about was lining up perfectly. So you have like this mystic Star Wars force about you. I can tell. It's just you're just feeding all the energy in and going along with the program. And I told Rubick,
Libra, man, that's what we do.
Yep. I told Rubick before we came on, I was like, man, these guys are marketing pros, but it's not just that. I can see the foundational blocks that you guys are putting in place to, it's not just a game, it's a brand, it's a culture, and all those things that you just talked about, people might not, they might overlook them, but like they're so critical because you're building something that has some meaning to it. It's not just a token, it's not just a game, it's a culture, and I really like that. Rubick, you had
Well,
something you wanted to. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if I can be a bit candid, I think the issue is it's just experience. And when I say what I'm about to say, like, you just have to listen to it from my point of view. So for me, I've already done like all the cool like being popular stuff. I don't care anymore. I mean, I have a YouTube channel that's world renowned. I mean, this whole last 2.5 years, no matter how many calls I jump on with people all over the world, 9 times out of 10, after like 15 minutes, they go, "Oh, I think you taught me how to deadlift when I was in college. I used to watch your fitness videos," right? And that was my goal, to teach fitness to the world. I think like my how-to plank video has like 30 million views. Like, it's ridiculous, but my content's all out there. And then before I started YouTube, I was on a reality TV show called The Real World, which at the time was one of the most popular reality TV shows in the United States. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's like one of the original shows where they take 7 strangers, they put you in a house, and then they film you for 3 months to see what happens, right? And then after that show aired, my popularity soared. I was living in New York City, free VIP everywhere, drinks everywhere. I was getting paid to go to bars just to like take photos with people. Like, it was crazy. I'm a pretty humble guy. Like, my parents raised me right, and so I used that opportunity to, as a stepping stone to try to get to the next thing, which was my YouTube channel. And then, from there on my YouTube channel as well, I was the first influencer to ever get a supplement sponsorship. Like, I created the category. I worked with Lionsgate for a few years as their head trainer. I did all their movie integrations. So I did all this stuff. But basically, the point I'm trying to make with all of that flexing, I guess I just did, is that I've already done all that stuff, right? And in this space, the space is very new, and there's a lot of attention being focused on a few people that are kind of like doing it first, because Web3 is a whole new thing. And sometimes that can go to your head, and sometimes you forget that, like, dude, you're building a business. Expect to work your balls off and not benefit from it for a year or two, even as a creator. Like, when I first started YouTube and started creating, I didn't make any money. I was relying on, getting paid $1,200 to do an appearance at a bar to pay my rent, right? And I was basically working YouTube Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day, making no money. And then I'd do a bar appearance Saturday night, and that would go towards paying my rent and getting me groceries. So,
Right.
Like, it's a grind. And with WAGMI, we have our own category on Kick. I knew as soon as the game was ready, I was like, we need our own category on Twitch. We're not there yet. They're probably not going to give it to us, but Kick will give us one, because they're also in beta and they're trying to beat out Twitch.
Right.
And so I contacted them. I'm like, hey, this is who we are. Here's my background. I said, I'm looking for a partnership. I don't want anything from you other than a category, so that as I get my army of creators and my community together, I can bring them to one place to see WAGMI content. And then also, like, for you guys, if you guys are out in public and you want to show somebody WAGMI Games, of course you can load it on your phone, or you can just load up the Kick app and you can show them clips right then and there. Look, people are playing this game. It's fun. And I knew how important that was. And I'll tell you another thing. It's not fun starting at 0. Okay?
Right.
It's not fun starting a category at 0 and streaming for an hour or two, 4 or 5 days a week, and having 1 or 2 people watching. Nobody wants to do that. But that's what we did. That's what I did. Now the category has 100 people. We just hit triple digits, which is a huge deal. And whenever we stream, we're averaging, 30 to 40 people. In fact, sometimes we'll have 50 to 70 people watching concurrently for an hour, which is huge in Web3, especially with a game that's in beta. And so, like, you just have to put the work in and grind and do it for the right reasons. And the reasons that we're doing it is because we want to build a fun game that a community can come into and want to stick around.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the stepping stones you guys are putting in place. You've done it in your career, and WAGMI Games is doing it right now. That's something that I'm really seeing. So, Rubick, what's your thoughts?
He's hired some pretty high big hitters as well in the team. Like Esteban was one of them. There's someone else recently as well that was pretty high up in EA as well, wasn't it? So
Yeah, so we hired Brent Pease back in March of last year. He actually was the creator and founder of Industrial Toys, which is a company that he ran with Alex Seropian, who is the creator of Halo and Bungie. And so EA actually bought Industrial Toys, and then Brent went to work for EA, and he was a general manager there. He was managing like 150 people, right, on different projects. And so we got Brent, we got Esteban, and we have a couple other guys that work for us that are from EA as well that specialize in things like telemetry, data acquisition, right? Because this whole thing only makes sense if you can read the data and you know what data to look for. And when it comes to things like globally launching the game and putting it like all out there, there's a process to that, which is why you need guys on your team that have been doing it for 25 years.
yeah,
Right? Like you don't globally release a game in Web3 unless you get all your Web3 shit like lined up and working, right? Like you have to set expectations, and you only really get one shot at a global release, which is why we've been, I don't know if I'd say taking our time, more along the lines of that's why we've been doing it right and going by the advisement of the guys on our team that have launched hundreds of games before.
Do you know what? I think it's one of the most not innovative, but just real smart ideas that when I first heard about the merging of cards. So people that don't know, in WAGMI you win cards from playing, and if you get 5, you merge it goes up a level. You get 5 of those that are level 2s become another one, and then you can do it one more time. So it's 125 cards you need for a legendary. And I thought, well, that's going to burn out pretty quickly. Like, that's going to cause a deflation pretty quickly, or an inflation, or whichever. I get that word mixed up around the wrong way in crypto.
Deflation.
But the actual idea of doing it in seasons and them not being compatible to merge is pure genius. Whoever come up with that, give them a pat on the back from me, man. That was brilliant. Because I used to think, I really thought that's going to be a huge problem for you guys. But let's just see what happens. And then this, I didn't know. All of a sudden, preseason comes around after beta, and I can't merge my betas and preseasons together. And I'm like, that's really clever. So you're gonna have to commit to, a little bit of finances as well, not a lot, to get to your legendaries. So I just think it's a really clever design, and and that's kind of one of the points that made me go, you know what, these guys, they got a lot of hype. They tell the story pretty well. Like, you got Scott, who's obviously knows how to milk the best out of everything, but you've got the substance there. You've got the substance there, and the people are making the right decisions, and the idea of building a massive IP that people will live in for years. So yeah, kudos to you guys. It's coming along really nicely.
Well, I'm so happy you brought that up. And I think now is a good time to say, because I didn't say it earlier, that we're free to play. So all the cards that Rubick is talking about, you get them for free while playing. So anybody can come into our ecosystem and play the game and play for free, not have to spend any money, and be just as competitive as people who want to come in and own everything, right? And that's how a mobile game should be. Like, even for example, so like Esteban comes from traditional gaming, right? Like traditional Web 2 gaming, where everything is soul bound to the game, where it's not Web 3, so you can't sell anything, can't trade anything. I don't know if you guys know this, but I also ran a gaming YouTube channel for fun on the side. I built it up to like 60,000 subscribers, and I played Dokkan Battle. And I still play Dokkan Battle. I've been playing it for 7 years. Dragon Ball Z game. Very popular. And in that game, like, they do reward you quite a bit with Dragon Stones to do like summons on new banners for characters. And they have new banners and new events coming out all the time. And in our game, I thought, we use Adalium, and if you get enough Adalium, you can actually buy cards in the shop, and you can buy premium versions of the characters, which is fun. So you guys see those on Token Trove. But I've had a lot of conversations with Esteban, and I'm like, listen, we can be more generous with the reward structure in our game, because that's going to foster more excitement in the secondary market, and that's going to create a lot more commerce there. So, like, it's not bad. Like, if, for example, if you're earning characters at double the rate, let's say playing a Web 3 game versus a Web 2 game, it's not like, okay, now you have all legendaries and now you're like done and you don't care if you get duplicates. Because that's what happens to me in Dokkan Battle is I summon all these banners. There's like 1,500 characters and I probably have 1,498 of them, right? So like when a new banner comes out, I only need the top character that's on there. I don't need all the other ones. I already have them all. And then when I get duplicates of all those, they just sit in my box or I scrap them for points, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thought process that I've actually spoken at length with Esteban, I was like, you know, if we kind of are a bit more generous, not too much, but like a bit more generous, people get more rewards, they're then going to want to be interested in seeing the secondary market. Even if they sell that card for $1. They're like, oh, this makes sense. So maybe instead of selling a common for $1, I'll wait until I get 5 and I turn that common into a rare and I'll sell that one for $8, right?
Right.
And so you basically kind of spark this interest in the secondary market by being more generous, which is kind of the opposite of games, right? They want to kind of like not be as generous so that you're logging in every day and you're gonna spend money. My thought process is you're more likely to spend money in a game that's rewarding you more, right? So I guess, for example, like trying to figure out how many cards it takes to evolve from common to rare, rare to epic. And originally it was a big number, like 7 or 10. And I'm like, listen, you know, depending on the rate at which we're giving away cards, if I have like 3 or 4 of the card and I need 5, I might go to the secondary market to buy what I need because I'm already so close.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if I need 10 and I have 3, I'm like, fuck that. Like, you know what I mean? That's going to take a while. And so, but like,
your season thing that I just spoke about, that got me going to the secondary. So I was going there. I was going there occasionally, but as soon as I found out that they're limited each season, I literally went straight on to Token Trove and bought, like, I think since I knew that.
That was you buying everything.
20 or 30 cards. So I started using WAGMI as my my IMX staking. You know to buy one card or sell one card every 2 weeks. I used to buy a 1 cent Gods Unchained card. I've changed to WAGMI, but I'll go, oh, I need them as well, and I buy that one, and I need that one as well, and I buy that one, and I end up spending more money than I'm getting for staking anyway.
Are you guys doing?
I love that.
Are you doing the same? You guys are doing the same concept with this. The people that are holding the comments, you're kicking out comic variants, I think 5 a month to your holders, and it's a deflationary model, and those can upgrade also. Are doing the same thing with that, right?
Yeah, so I think because we're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff, just in case people are listening and they might be a little confused, because I know you're probably going to show some visuals, but let me just explain.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, whether you have a beta card, a preseason card, a comic card, a founders edition card, right? It's the same character in the game, right? It's the same character that you're dropping on the map. The difference is, you know, when the match starts and you see what I have in my deck, it's a flex, right? And it's a collection, like Pokemon. Like, you're trying to collect your favorite characters. So you don't have to have all these different variants to play the game and be competitive. We're not pay for power. We're not pay to play. If you started playing right now and you started getting the preseason cards, because we're in preseason, and you're battling somebody who has beta cards, it's still the same characters on the map. It's just that, you know, if you have beta, you're much cooler, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and every single card can be leveled up to level 10. Now, increasing the rarity, like we've been speaking about, where you go from common to rare, rare to epic, epic to legendary, the spread of power from common to legendary is like 5%. So it's enough to make you like want to grind for it, right? Because you want to have all the power. But in reality, 5% isn't enough to give you a massive edge over somebody who has common variants. If you have all legendary, it's like if you have 100 health points, you know, the legendary card is 105, right? And I think it's so important to make that distinction just so that people understand, like, oh, if I don't have time to get all legendaries, what's the point? Well, that's just the collection side. Like, you don't have to do the collecting. You can just play with level 10 commons and be just as competitive in the game. It's just fun to level up your cards, right? Obviously.
Right.
No, you gotta
So
the kind of people are gonna play this game, the kind of people are gonna play this game are gonna want to level up their cards for sure. They're the gamification side of it, you know, it's got me. I'm hooked. You can tell.
Well, yeah, and also too, like, everyone's talking about, like, what's the new term? Play to airdrop and all this bullshit, right? You literally log into WAGMI every single day. You get your free chest that has cards, which are NFTs. Whenever you win a battle, you get a chest that takes like 16 hours to open, and you can have 4 chests at a time. As soon as that chest opens, you're getting free cards, NFTs. So it's like you're getting all the NFTs for free, and we're not making you, like, charging you to burn these cards. Yeah. And I think that's important to note, because in most other games, like, for example, I play a lot of Big Time, and I'm not going to knock Big Time. I love the game, but, like, to make an hourglass, I get charged a shitload of resources to do that, right? Like, they really charge a lot for you to craft in that game. But, I mean, it works. That's how their game model works, and that's fine. But in WAGMI, you know, we talked about this. I was like, I don't think we should charge Nefi or Dalium or even WAGMI token to level up the rarity of the cards, because if you do that, leveling up the rarity of the cards is going to drop significantly. And all of that fun and excitement that's around that is going to be gone, right?
Right.
And again, like, the business side of the brain is probably thinking, oh, if we charge, like, you know, 50 cents every time somebody did that, and we have 1,000 people doing it, you know, that equals X amount of dollars. And the gamer side of the brain is like, fuck you, dude. Like, fuck your 50 cents.
I got 2 suggestions. They're going to be quick ones. First one is a draft mode in the game. So you have not just 6 cards, but you got the whole kit of, say, 20 cards or maybe 10 cards, and you draft, and the opposite opponent can cancel one of your cards. So you, like, 4 of your cards. So you play.
Oh,
you know
I like
mean?
that. Yeah, that's
like
a cool. I like that a lot. I've seen that in games before.
Yeah, it'd be really cool with once you get a lot more depth to the game. I
need to write that down. Hold on, write that down.
Send you a message.
I bet he's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I already have that idea." Bastard.
Of course. And also, to encourage more play in a day, instead of just one win get you a chest, maybe you have to play a certain amount of games to get that chest. Maybe 4 or 5 games.
Well, yes, I mean, a lot of that infrastructure is going to be changing a lot. So, like, you know, we have an entirely new user interface that we're going to be launching relatively soon, hopefully next month. We've actually been rebuilding the core structure of the game, the code of the game, since the beginning of the year. That's why, like, there's been, like, small updates to the current game right now, but all the big updates are going on the new code, because it doesn't make sense to do the work twice, right? Yeah. So even the file size is so much smaller for the new game. I think this one's like 2 gigs, right? And then the new one's like 256 megabytes or something like that. I don't know. I might be messing up my bytes, but whatever. It's a lot smaller. Because it needs to be if you want to be on phones in different parts of the world that don't have the latest iPhone or latest Android. You need to be able to have a game that's playable, right? And still have good quality graphics. All the new characters. So you guys have seen that we've been posting on the main Twitter page. Like, we just posted General Stamima, like his high poly, like black and white, what he's going to look like in the game. We're working with a studio called Roommate Studios, and they're basically remodeling every single character to look, you know, AAA quality. All of that's going to be in the new game. We have a whole new design. We worked with the principal experience designer from EA to redesign, like, the user's path, going from the home screen to basically every other screen in the game, just to make things a bit more streamlined. So once the new user interface comes out, especially you, Rubick, because you've been here for a while, like, you're just going to open your phone and then be like, holy crap, this is like a whole new game.
Oh, cool. There's a few things around the UI that could be improved, but I assumed that was going to be fixed, so I haven't really made any comments.
Yeah, so what I want to do actually, because I've been spending the last 2 years, really building my network with gamers and communities and people like you. Once we have the new user interface, and that's 100% the foundation, my plan is to go into these communities and set up chats like this and just be like, hey, tell me what you like and tell me what you don't like and give me ideas for things you want to see. And I think that that's something more games should be doing, and they just don't because they're not, I guess, not too many teams have a creator as a co-founder, right? But that's how I see things moving forward. Like, I'm not the smartest person in the world, and just because we're working with, people that have worked at EA and Bungie and Respawn, doesn't mean they have all the best ideas either. I want to talk to the guy who's been playing video games his entire life, and knows what frustrates him and what makes him happy in a game. And in fact, that's why a lot of what you see in the game for like structure and things that we talked about earlier, me and Esteban, I'm not a game designer. I don't know how to code. I've played enough games my entire life. Because my personality is a grinder. Like, I'll grind a game to 100% completion. I refuse to look shit up on YouTube, right? Like, I want to figure it out on my own. But so, like, that experience is something you can't buy. It's something you can't fake. And so when I talk to Esteban and we go back and forth on ideas, like, that's how we come up with these amazing solutions, right? To make things fun.
Be careful what you ask for with me, though. I wrote 2 pages full of feedback on GOG. And about 2 weeks later, they announced that they're canceling the game. So,
true story.
I'm
not afraid.
I ripped into them. I completely and utterly ripped into them and said, "This is the most boring game I've ever played in my life." Blah blah blah. But I gave reasons why and what they could do to improve it. And I said that
boring, man.
This game was boring, and look, they changed it to what it is now, and it's amazing. So it worked out in the end. So. Be ready for the pain and the honesty.
You got to be able to take the hard criticism. We've gotten some harsh criticisms in the past, right? Some were uncalled for like when we launched our Founders Edition. There was so much FUD around our Founders Edition cards from the gamers, from the players and the creators and the these different communities, mainly because they just don't listen to any. And I'll speak on that briefly. For the Founders cards, we were going to do 10,000 packs. We did a collaboration with OpenSea, very big deal. Each pack contains all 32 cards. And then there's no common variants. Every pack was random. So you could get a pack with all 32 legendaries, or you could get a pack with 2 legendaries, a bunch of rares, and a bunch of epics, right? It varied depending on what you got. And the thought process was, we're going to do 10,000 packs, and we're going to mint this thing out over the next 4 or 5 months as we roll beta and we go into different countries and give everybody an opportunity to get a Founders pack, right? We did Medium articles explaining this. We did Twitter Spaces every week explaining this. You guys know we do WAGMI Wednesday every Wednesday for the last 2.5 years, right? We announced the mint. People saw the mint price, they saw the pack collection, and they were like, cash grab. We're like, we're not trying to mint this out in a week. We want to mint it out over 4 to 5 months, right?
A free-to-play game that's not allowed to make money, mate.
Yeah. It's so.
Well,
people got really.
I think things have worked out for you though, because I looked through your cards, like they're manageable to buy. Like, it's not unreasonable your cards to buy right now. I was looking on the Immutable platform, but you've also had some smashes. I've seen recently you guys had several cards selling for 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. So like you have a good range of price ranges of high demand and then your lower demand for people just to get in the game and have some fun. And I think you guys have set that up properly.
Well, that's the kicker, and that's the ending to the story, is we reduced the collection from 10,000 to 3,000. We reduced the price from 300 to 150. We did mint all the Founders packs out, right? So remember, each pack comes with 32 cards for $150. People are buying Alien Emperor, like all the generals, all the commanders, alien emperor, human emperor, for like $200 to $600 for one card.
Yeah, you know what? It wasn't.
And a month
it
ago,
wasn't-
they were complaining that we were trying to cash grab with $300, and it's like now you're paying more money for one card. If the packs are still available, you could have just bought a pack for $300 and got all 32 cards. But
Mate,
again, right? And here's the thing: I was upset because I don't like. I pride myself on having a good reputation. That's how I built Scott Herman Fitness to 3 million subscribers. I'm
right.
I'm known for being honest, right? And as much as I had to swallow my pride on it, we just said like, okay, if this is how everybody feels, we'll make an adjustment. And then, we made the adjustment, and then I did a lot of videos with creators like Addis is great, kind of explaining what I just told you guys. And the energy towards us shifted immediately. And it kind of worked out in our favor because the reputation became, WAGMI listens to the community. They listen to the creators.
Nice.
They don't just, try to, let their pride get the best of them. So things happen for a reason. And
you know what you did wrong?
What?
Do you know what you did wrong? Do you know what you did wrong, Scott?
What?
You made a drop for something that actually had utility. If you just did a stupid picture,
right?
Just did a stupid picture and said this is going to go to the moon and paid some influencer $1 billion to say it's going to go to the moon, you would have sold 40,000 packs and 40,000, and everyone would be, yeah, look, and you had to launch on Exterio as well because they're the ones that know how to milk it. So,
dude, I'll tell you, we're working with a company called Halika for all of our analytics and our affiliate system.
Mm-hmm.
And they were showing me how to track data on all of our NFT collections, and our retention rate of people who have bought our NFTs is like 95 to 98% of people still holding those. Like, it's insane. It can compare to like the top 10 collections, right? Of NFTs, with their retention rates like 40%. So the proof is in the data. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys are doing it right. I know it can be frustrating for you at times, but you're setting those cornerstones in place, those building blocks, and I think people are going to respect that. And long play, it'll work out for you. So,
if you didn't get frustrated, nobody gives a shit about what you're doing.
Absolutely. We're gonna.
You know what I mean?
We're going to move into a few questions about Immutable, and then we got a fun section for you. But is there anything else that you wanted to say about the actual gameplay or the cards or anything before we moved on?
I will say that, so we have these bad boys. I know you guys are on video.
Woo! Yeah.
Have you seen these yet?
Yeah, you got the 0, don't you? The number 0?
Yes. So mine links to the entire collection because he's 0.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So somebody DM me, I forget who it was. They're like, I got number 1. I'm like, great, I have number 0. So there's only 1,000 of these. We've released the first 250. I'm going to be releasing the next 250 soon. Anybody who wants to claim the NFT, all you got to do is just if you want to reach out to your community guys, send me a list of all of the MetaMask wallets, and I will whitelist them all so you guys can all claim one. And then if you want to print it, that's different. That's through 3D Houdini. It's like $55 to print it and have it shipped to your house.
Not bad.
We don't take any profit from that. We just want to do something cool.
Mm-hmm.
But all of the printed emperors link to the NFT. So it's a one-to-one collection. And if you don't want to print it and you just want to hold the NFT for free, you can do that too.
Cool. Very cool.
Awesome, mate.
So I noticed you guys kind of have, it looks like you work with OpenSea, you're on Immutable, obviously. I think you're with Altura also, if I'm not mistaken.
We just built a marketplace with them.
Yep. So you went with Immutable a while ago. What was the reason you wanted to go with them?
So before we got on Immutable, and what was actually very special about getting with Immutable was that we met with Elena in Texas, and that was our first meeting of me meeting the other core 4 members. So like we all planned the trip to Texas to meet with Elena at Immutable to basically pitch WAGMI. And this was back when the game was just on a web browser. It wasn't even an app yet, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how early this was. So me, Ian, Lewis, Chris, and Khaled all met for the first time in Texas and had our meeting with Elena. And then I'll tell you a funny story later. I won't go off topic. Anyways, so it has to do with a punching machine and dildos, but we'll get to that.
Whoa!
We'll get to that later. That's the hook to keep you listening. So we were on BNB and Ethereum with our token, and we're like, how are we gonna do how are we gonna make this game work if people have to pay like $5 for a $2 NFT? It doesn't make any sense for gas, right? Mm-hmm. And so we saw Immutable as the immediate solution. So we met with Elena, and she loved the game, loved what we were doing, loved the lore. You know, she presented us to the rest of the Immutable team, and that's how we became like founding members with Immutable. And the main focus was we saw what they were doing. We started as the only solution to have NFTs in a game that makes sense. Gas was transacting, and as soon as we got partnered with Immutable, we actually got rid of our BNB chain, because even on our beta, we had the NFTs on BNB as well, right? We got rid of all of that. We merged the token to a new contract, our V2, which is why you guys might see the token only goes back, a certain amount. Mm-hmm. And we moved it to be just on Ethereum with the token, and then all of our in-game assets would be on Immutable for gasless minting.
Yeah. There was back when you signed that, they were like super advanced. There's a couple options now you could have gone with for the gas free as well. But there's other tools as well that have come out that I'm sure that you'll talk about later. That was like my experience of using Passport from the Web3 auth login is, they're both social logins, but the Passport's just so much better than, like the easiest, just getting onto Token Trove, the same login. I tried to get the other one working, and it didn't work for some reason. You know what? Hopefully they'll put Passport on later, and as soon as you implement a Passport, I gave an email address. All the tokens were moved over there, NFTs, and I didn't even know it was that simple. And then I just was able to trade straight away, and I started trading then. I wasn't trading before at the start, so it made it so much better. The Passport. I assume that's part of the.
Yeah, I mean, one of my best friends is heavily invested into WAGMI. He finally had time for me to get with him yesterday and show him how to link everything up with his Passport. And he's like, "That's all you have to do?" He's like, "That's really easy." I was like, "Yeah, man." I go, "We're actually the first mobile game to implement the Passport, and so we've actually had to go back and forth a lot with the Immutable team to make sure it works properly." I mean, it's new technology, right? So. Right. As ready as Passport was, once we implemented it, there was XYZ that had to be improved in order for it to work properly and correctly. So we actually were able to implement Passport December 20th of last year, obviously. 7 days earlier than we thought we were. We were originally going to do on December 27th. And yeah, it's streamlined the entire process and made it so much easier to get people to play the game and then go to the secondary market. Like you said, you literally just log in with the same email, and you're, oh my god, there's all my cards right there, yeah. Right?
And it's just there's other benefits as well, like getting on the dashboard and that. But I think you're the first game to actually have it, like not the first mobile game, the first game. There's no other game that I don't use for any other game. Gods and Chains lets you log in with it, but that's only the authentication. You can't actually put Gods and Chain cards on Passport yet. So it's actually the first fully used game.
That might be true. I know for a fact we're the first mobile, but yeah, I think we could be the first overall game as well.
Yeah. So with the Altura decision to go with the tokens and NFTs that you've got on layer 1, was there ZK EVM thoughts coming to that? Was ZK EVM just not ready for that yet, or what was the?
So. That's a good question. I asked my team about that, because that's not my wheelhouse, and they said that even on the ZK EVM, there's still a small gas fee that happens there. So that was the response they gave me. That's as much as I can talk about it.
But Altura's got to pay gas, do you not? Or is it gas free on Altura?
Yeah, but Altura is so understand that what we're doing with Altura is our L1 collections, like our Genesis NFT, our comic NFT, and our Founders Pack, right? So like for the Founders Pack, when you go to our dashboard and open the pack, it actually burns the pack on L1 and then opens the cards, which then go to L2.
Yeah.
Right.
So like even for the comic books, right? So as long as you have your wallet, your MetaMask wallet that's holding the comic book connected to Immutable's L2, the cards once a month get dropped on the L2.
Easy.
So it's like, yeah, so it's kept separate for a reason. That's why there's the Altura marketplace. But all of the in-game assets are on Immutable's L2 network. And that's what makes the comic so cool. So you brought that up earlier. We just finally released the cards. And for every comic that you own, once a month for the foreseeable future, you're going to get 5 cards airdropped for every comic.
Right.
What's the comic going for now? What's the floor price on the
floor
comic?
So there's a few available on Altura for like maybe $100 to $135.
Yeah.
But on OpenSea, it's like $170, I think, is the floor price right now. Let me see.
Yeah, I got a video up right now.
There's a few there for like 130.
Yeah, it
but
looks like they
mint
were up
price
to
is
167 a little while ago.
Yeah, and that's just for the common cover. So there's 3,022 common covers. So 3,022 is the year of the game. So you'll see that number pop up every so often. Like, why is it 3,022 or $30.22? Well, that's why. It's the year of the game.
I was asking that because selfish reasons. I was couldn't be bothered looking it up. For myself, I want one myself, so I haven't got one yet. So
check this out, right? So this was another long conversation that me and Esteban had. We're like, how are we going to drop these cards? What's the best way to do it? And so the solution that we used, I'll take credit, was my solution, approved by Esteban, obviously. He's the final say. But I said, Esteban, what if every comic gave 5 cards, but depending on the rarity of the comic, at least 1, 2, or 3 of those cards is guaranteed to be an epic, rare, or a legendary.
Yeah.
So if you have a common comic, common or uncommon, you are guaranteed to get at least 1 card that's rare, epic, or legendary. And if you have rare or ultra rare, you're guaranteed at least 2. And if you have ultra secret rare or legendary, and remember, there's only like 135 legendary comics and like 230 super ultra rare ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're guaranteed 3 of those cards to be epic, rare, or legendary. And then also the percentages are higher for like getting a legendary drop, right? So like you can still get a legendary to drop with a common comic, but it's like a 3% chance versus having a legendary comic and it's like a 20% chance, right?
nice.
Yeah.
You guys got it all worked out, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot.
And it's for free. By the way, that's for free. And so like we have no control over what the comic cards are selling for on Token Trove. So go to Token Trove, go to the comic collection and see what's been bought and sold and understand we have no control over that. It's all community run. I have cards. I bought like $7,000 worth of comics. I have like 70 of them. If we have comics, it's because we bought them. Like it was a fair mint. You had to mint the comic to get one, spend the money. So I have comic cards. I'm not listing them. I'm a hoarder. I'm hoarding all of them.
Awesome.
I'm like, I want a complete set of legendaries. I have to grind for it just the same as everybody else.
Right. Absolutely. So, you guys, obviously, you're with Immutable. We've talked about that. How's that experience been? Either good or bad. We try to see both sides of it so that we can all grow collectively with the ecosystem. We don't like to be fanboys exclusively, but we know the good. How's that experience been with you guys and them so far?
So I don't know if you using the term bad would be the right term, but like in the beginning, we didn't get as much love. It was the focus was always on Gods Unchained. It was always on Illuvium. It was always on Guild of Guardians, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, rightfully so. Like we were just starting out. We're building up our business, building out our company, and then as we started doing more and getting more attention, we started also getting more attention from Immutable as well with posts. At the last NFT NYC, they had us at their booth like the entire time. They gave us our own section there with our games and with our things set up. And that's just business, right? Like if the IP is doing well, you're going to get more attention and you got to put the work in, period. So in the beginning, the relationship, we had, always a great relationship with like the tech side and getting things set up and having meetings. But on the promotion side, it was very slow because we just weren't there yet. As now that we're there and we're doing well and we're kicking ass, we're getting a lot more attention from them on the promotion side. They're getting more involved with what we're doing when we're doing mints and things like that. And so overall, the experience has been great. And again, like without their technology, we wouldn't have the gaseous minting of our game. I mean, that partnering with them is the only way this business model was able to work. Or we'd be dead in the water trying to fight gas fees, right?
Yeah. It's Gods and Chain cards are 1 cent. Imagine having to pay $5 gas fee, or even 20 cents, even 2 cents. Why would you sell a 1 cent card for 2 cents? There's gas on top of that. Like it doesn't make sense anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, like we've heard that before about the feedback, and we've had that feedback before about the tension being given, and it's been I've raised this point with my contacts directly with Immutable multiple times. They're sick of me saying it, to be honest with you. They're probably going to kick me out of the hero program for it. But it makes me... But they're just like... They're victims of their own success. They've got 260 games building on them. They've got another 1,000 games that are trying to build on them permissionlessly. And they all want the attention of 50 devs. So, so it's, technically they're really... They're spread thin. We're actually meeting one of the guys that to discuss this point a bit deeper, actually, on Wednesday. So we'll hopefully find out a little bit more. And it's been getting better across the board because of, they're mature, they've got more devs, they're faster at getting things done. Docs are better. The company just doesn't appear overnight. Like, you got to build it, and they're the same. They've got to build it as well. So,
yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, business is business, right? And you need to take responsibility. You can't count on anybody to lift you up, right? So as long as Immutable is doing what they need to do on the back end to give you the tools to succeed, that's all you can really ask for, right? And then as you start to succeed and you gain their respect and the attention, then you should get more, engagement marketing wise, right?
Exactly.
But it doesn't make sense to market a game. I mean, even for us, like we didn't hype anything that we did until for like a year and a half. We just kept building. We kept just having our meetings with our community. We do our WAGMI Wednesdays, keep everybody up to date on what we were doing. Our thought process and our mantra from the very beginning was like, what's the point of hyping shit up for a week so everything just crashes 2 weeks later? And then the ecosystem looks like it's dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather see a steady, slow build up to the point to where we're ready to really take off, and then we can sustain that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, gonna move on to. I think that's enough about Immutable. It's good. You don't have a lot to do with them by the sounds of it. It's not, you're not the technical lead. So
right.
A lot of the questions that we asked about the people that deal with them on a technical basis, and those questions we had set up. So let's move into the fun part. Mm-hmm. This is our favorite part of the show. Are you ready for this, Scott?
Sure.
All right. So there's just 10 questions around about, and they're one-word answers. And if you want to add some context, like a sentence for context, but we're trying to do it in 60 seconds to 2 minutes. So that's a fast-paced. Okay, ready? Prefer to watch sports or esports and streamers?
Esports. I play sports. I don't watch them. Watching is boring.
Okay, so prefer to play sports or video games?
Yes, 100%.
Sorry, do you prefer to play sport or play video games?
Oh, That's a hard one. Probably now play video games. All my friends are fat and lazy now. They're boring to play sports with.
I don't know what to say. Favorite. So, what's your favorite sport and favorite video game? Since you like both of those.
So my favorite sport has always been soccer, and my favorite game series has always been Zelda.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Messi or Ronaldo?
Don't really care. I don't watch sports. I just play them. I mentioned that in the earlier comment.
Okay.
Congratulations. You make a lot of money kicking a ball. Go fuck yourself.
Did you 900 million?
Like, meanwhile, I grew up working my balls off to make, very little money. I grew up watching anime. I was more into okay, when I was a kid, like grade school, all my friends would talk about these athletes and shit. And my thought process was back then, we're talking early, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. I was like, wow, your heroes can throw a ball and kick a ball and, whatever, block balls. My heroes can fly. They can save people. They can run into a burning building and pull people out, right? That's just how my brain worked as a kid. Very simple. So I just kind of grew up idolizing superheroes and comics and those kind of values versus watching sports. I just don't care.
Nice.
I think
I was in New York once, and I was in Louis Vuitton, and I was talking, and the guy who worked there, he heard my accent. He goes, "Oh, you're from Boston. You must love the Red Sox." I was like, "Fuck the Red Sox. I watch anime." And he goes, "Oh, sick. You watch Naruto?" I'm like, we became best friends instantly. Sports
awesome.
divide, anime brings people together. All right, that's how I see it.
All right. What about when you're playing games? What's your, machine of choice? Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, or PC? Not mobile. They're not counted.
I mean, I have all three, but it's usually Xbox. Me and my boys grew up playing Xbox. But obviously, Super Smash Bros. Or Zelda, you had to have Nintendo. So
yeah,
right.
Books and movies.
Movies. There's a closet over here with about 1,500 Blu-rays in alphabetical order. So
wow,
alphabetical order is impressive. What's your
and
favorite
I built
movie?
the shelves, and I wrapped all the shelves with carpet because I collect the steelbook versions of movies, and I wanted to make sure when I slid them on and off the shelf, it didn't scratch the bottom.
You're a hardcore collector on all kinds of levels. I can tell. I'm just looking at your background.
You haven't seen my pop collection?
No.
What?
Oh, okay.
What's your favorite movie? What?
Holy smokes! Wow.
What is that?
Those are pops.
Collection of what?
My
What are they?
Pops.
Funko Pops.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
a
awesome.
collector. I got a cousin like you. No wonder you like blockchain collecting side.
Oh yeah,
things.
absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
I love collecting.
So you said favorite movie? Yeah.
That's really hard because it depends on what kind of mood I'm in. If I'm in an emotional mood, if I'm in a, want to kill something mood, right? If I just want to laugh. I'll tell you what. One of my favorite stupid funny movies from the 90s that you guys should all watch is called The Pest, and you will enjoy it, especially if you hate politically correctness.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
It has John Leguizamo in it. You guys know John Leguizamo? He was Luigi in Super Mario Bros. And he was the guy in John Wick who ran the chop shop.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Actually, I have a theory, because in The Pest, John Leguizamo is a scam artist, right? And he just does all these funny scams to people, and he owes the Irish mafia $50,000. It's really funny. My theory is it would be really cool if his character in that movie eventually moved to New York and became the John Wick character. That'd be really cool.
Nice. All right, next one. Ferrari or Lamborghini?
Camaro.
Nice.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate chip cookie dough.
One word to describe Elon Musk.
Funny as fuck. That's 3 words.
What is it? What is it? Video game that popped your cherry.
It was Zelda, actually,
Yeah.
Nice.
on the Nintendo. My Uncle David came over and he's like, let's play Zelda. It's like, okay. And he's like, make sure you hold reset when you press power to save the game. I was like,
Nice.
oh, what if I forget?
Do you know what just happened? That was the
What?
first time ever we've done those 10 questions where the Elon Musk answer wasn't the funniest.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the
Wasn't
first
it?
time.
There was like all the other ones were really great, and
Yeah.
the Elon Musk was good, but like the other ones are great. So thanks for that.
see his-
That was a lot of fun.
Did you see his D's nuts post with Disney the other day?
Yes.
I saw you see the rage from it? Oh, I love the rage that it causes.
Oh yeah, dude.
He's
He
the
is
greatest.
best.
He's the greatest troll of our era, man. I just love him.
Yeah.
It
I
cracks
love
me up.
I love when you guys know AOC, the
Oh, yeah.
Democrat chick. He like she would like rant and like just call him out on all this stuff, and he'd reply and be like, "Stop flirting with me, tee." Like,
CEO of $3 billion companies.
Yeah.
He's changed the game.
Oh,
He's changed the game.
Scott, dude, you did awesome on that. You hit that out of the park. It was a lot of fun. Is there anything that you want to talk about, whether from your personal self or WAGMI Games, or the floor is yours to take us out of here today.
I appreciate that, guys. I've had a great time chatting with both of you and getting to know you guys as well. I would just say, if you're not already following me or WAGMI Games on Twitter, my handle is Scott_Herman. WAGMI Games is WAGMI Game Co. I'm sure these guys will post the links.
Mm-hmm.
We're really interactive. Our DMs are always open. Mine are always open. You guys can always DM me if you have questions or if you want to play the beta. But we're really focused on building a great community here. And a great community is built one step at a time, one person at a time. And it's the accumulation of all these amazing personalities coming together, which has made Web3 what it is today. And it's my intention and my job to make sure we don't lose sight of, how we got here. And it's through community. So we have a lot of really big things coming for you. I know everybody says that, but like we legit have some really big things coming for you guys. When you see our anime, when you see our next comic, when you see the new user interface of the game and everything else we have planned, we want to be around for the next 5 to 10 years. Like, we're building out WAGMI Games to be like the next franchise. There's a huge opportunity right now. I don't know how much you guys pay attention to pop culture and like Disney and movie sales and everything that's happening in that world, the writer's strike and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the numbers have shown that people are just sick and tired. Like, I never thought I would live in a world where people were sick and tired of Star Wars and superhero movies. Like, I never thought that would happen. But, losing $100 billion and your name is Disney says that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people are craving new stories. People are craving communities to attach themselves to, that are just there for the reasons why you were here in the very beginning, right? It's like, I never started playing a video game because I could make money. So why should I think in Web3 that's going to be the reason for success? All the games I play, all the movies I watch, like, it's the story that keeps me coming back. Like, I'll rewatch I rewatch movies all the time. Some of the movies I rewatch the most are like Jay and Silent Bob movies. just because they're so politically incorrect, it brings me back to that nostalgia of growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, right?
When not everyone was offended by everything.
Yeah, dude. Like, so it was a better time, right? Not to say we're gonna be insanely politically correct or anything like that, but we're gonna be focused on telling good stories with amazing characters. We're gonna be focused on a game that's fun first, and then Web3 elements get brought into it. We never talked about our token. Our token is going to be 100% utility token in the game. You can use it to buy things in the game like you would COD points or V-Bucks in Fortnite, right?
Mm-hmm.
You use the token to get the battle pass. We're going to have in-game wagering where you can only use the WAGMI Games token for a skill-based battle, winner takes all. Things like that. So you're going to start to see a lot of that unfold. as we roll into the new user interface, because that's going to be like the final foundational like code that we're going to build this game on. And we will be globally launched this year. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, like there's a lot coming that you guys need to be ready for, that we've been working on for like 4 or 5 months. You know, again, like I said earlier, we don't tease a lot of stuff until we're like really close to making it go live. I don't want to tease something 6 months ago and then, you know, everyone forgets about it and be like, oh yeah, here's that thing. No, there's a way to market big opportunities. And it's like, okay, we're a month away from releasing this. Now let's start generating hype, right? Now let's do a lead up and do fun events and giveaways and get everybody excited. Or else you just have the traditional buy the rumor, sell the news. We don't want to ever really be buy the rumor, sell the news. We want to be, oh shit, WAGMI's doing something else. I better get my ass in that community because it's only going to go up from there, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing all this new stuff come out, and the anime as well. I'm not a massive anime watcher. I've watched a few, and but it's, you know, I watched the Dota one because I'm a Dota player, obviously.
That was good, right?
Yeah, it got a bit boring at the end, to be honest with you. A bit weird. League of Legends one was actually better. Sorry to say that, but even though that's hurts me to say that, it was just a bit better quality. Ugh. But yeah, look, I'm really looking forward to watching the anime of this and getting into the world of WAGMI. Like, it's fun. I play it every day, but like, if I know the story of all the characters and that, it's going to be so much better. So I can't wait for that to come out.
Well,
thanks for your time today, Scott.
Here's the thing, right? So, for example, like when I play Dokkan Battle, my favorite character is Broly. So any team I can put Broly on is the team I want to play as. Well, in our game, we don't want there to be like a single meta. Like when I play Call of Duty, I could give a shit what gun I'm using as long as it's the best gun and it kills the fastest. And that changes like week to week depending on what Call of Duty wants to do. In our game, we want people to build strategies around their favorite characters. You know, you might not spend any money in our game, but if your favorite character is General Talos and we give him a new skin that's badass, you're probably going to buy it, right? Because he's a favorite character. So you have to have good lore. It's just like, it just makes things more exciting. I mean, you guys, like this right here, this is the special edition Tears of the Kingdom for the Switch for Zelda. I paid like $300 for that, and I haven't even opened it. Just, you know, I took the game out, and that was about it. But that's just the way it is. It's just the way we operate. Like the things that we truly love, like we're willing to spend money on, right? That's why, like, as much as I like digital collectibles, I can't surround myself in my man cave with digital collectibles unless I want to put, like, you know, color changing picture frames on the wall or something like that. Right. That just like rotates them. Like I want to have my physicals. I want to have the things I love, like that remind me of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like when I walk into my room and I see my One Piece wall and all my Dragon Ball Z pops, and now my own characters, right? I'm seeing my own characters in physical form. It's like, man, we're really doing something cool here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm learning more and more about this project, and it's getting me a lot more excited. You guys are clearly pros at marketing, and now I'm seeing the building blocks that you guys are putting in place. There's a substantial amount of substance to your product. It's not just the game. It's a whole buildup of substance, and yeah, this has been absolutely amazing. Definitely going to be diving into the WAGMI community a whole lot more. You've been absolutely great. I love your aura. I love your passion. I love your energy. And we thank you very much for the ample amount of time you've given us. And I can't wait to see what you guys come out with next. The next game that you guys got coming out here eventually. And just watch you guys progress. And I can see why Immutable is giving you a lot more deserved attention. And yeah, just appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you, guys. Happy to be here. And thank you to everybody who's listening and made it to the end. You made it to the end.
All right, guys.
Hopefully you were laughing along the way.
Yep. All right, Scott, you take care.
Bye, guys.